A year ago we had Prince Andrew here. Today he was a bit busy. He couldn't come for our first annual open day. So we plan to make it sort of an annual event. And this year we have tried really to target the day in a way that allows engagement with our local public. So we've made a big effort to invite all interested groups in the area and other stakeholders to explain the type of science that's going on in the Institute and also some of the exciting developments that we are planning over the next few years. So here we've got sort of the Institute, really what it is about. It's really about science and patients. The science basis of the Institute is very much linked to University College London. UCL is one of the leading universities in the world. It typically ranks amongst the top 10 in the various world rankings, typically close to Cambridge University. And there's really huge research potentials within UCL. On average, it takes approximately 15 years for a research development to be developed into a new type of therapy or into a new type of diagnostic test for patients. And to shorten this period substantially, this is one of the goals of the Institute. So then here we've got sort of an overview of the vision. What would we like to achieve with the Institute? We would like the Institute to be a hub of excellence for immunology-related research, and we would like to be able to take novel scientific concepts and use them to develop new diagnostic tools to improve the accuracy and efficiency of diagnosing disease. And we would also like to use the scientific discoveries to develop new type of therapies. Now, you may ask, why immunology research? What does it have to do with the type of diseases that the patients at the Royal Free suffer from? You need to think of the immune system as a system that coordinates a lot of activity within the body, and it's really essential to maintain health. For example, if you have an overactive immune system, then typically that leads to autoimmune conditions such as diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, or scleroderma. And if you have an underperforming immune system, then you suffer from susceptibility to infections, and you suffer from susceptibility to cancer, for example. So the immune system is very much sort of a surveillance system of the body, essential to maintain health. So I've talked a little bit about sort of the research excellence, which is really sort of based around the use about the research expertise of University College London. And we want to link this research excellence to clinical excellence. And in order to achieve that, the co-location of clinical and research activities is actually an important component. So when we opened what we call the phase 1 of the Institute a year ago, we created new research labs, and here's a picture from the research labs. And we also created new clinical facilities, and this is a picture of the new clinical facilities. At the end of today, from 6 to 7 o'clock, we are going to have a drinks reception up in our new facility. So you are all very welcome to come up for drinks and a little bit of food, and also to have a tour around the research part and the clinical part of the Institute. So in the clinical part, we deliver clinical care for our patients, and it also provides the opportunity to enroll our patients in clinical trials. This Institute, just like many developments, many strategic developments, it's critically dependent on people, on the individuals. We are very fortunate. We have on our research side as well as on our clinical side, we have highly motivated people who are professionally competent and who feel passionate about their clinical service and who feel passionate about their research. And it's really bringing those qualities together and align our clinical strategy with a research strategy. This is really what the Institute is about. Here is in a little bit more detail the type of research areas and research concepts that are pursued in the Institute and how they link to disease. So for example, we have what we call the immune tolerance cluster. So this is research that focuses on developing new type of approaches to induce tolerance. And this research cluster is really very much focused on developing new types of therapies for diabetes, scleroderma, and it's also used to develop new tolerance-inducing treatments to improve the outcome of our conventional transplants, but then also about the new type of transplants, and you will hear about this today, which is based on artificial organs and synthetic biomaterials. And then we have a research cluster that is focused on immunotherapy, on enhancing the immune function. And there we've got vaccinations as one approach, and then cell and gene therapy as an alternative approach. And here the immune enhancing cluster is really working on chronic infections such as HIV and hepatitis virus. And then we also enhance immune responses in cancer patients. And then finally we have a cluster that's analyzing the genetic component of some of the inherited diseases. So there we are focusing on inherited immunodeficiencies, and then we are also focusing on inherited hemophilias. So there the goal is to understand better what type of genes give rise to those disease conditions, and then develop new gene therapy approaches to provide new type of treatments. So here is an example of some publicity related to our research. You may have seen it was actually Wednesday of this week. There was this article in the Times newspaper. So this actually summarizes the research concept that has been developed by our own group and that is led in the clinical trial development by Emma Morris. And Emma will give a talk about this concept after our interactive period this afternoon. We've got a stand here that shows then the achievements and the concepts about new types of therapies for the hemophilias. So this has been a first approach to successfully treat hemophilia B. And if you are interested, there's a stand here, and there will be Ted Tuddenham can explain in more detail this type of approach. And then, for example, we've got a research activity that's linked to our to the National Referral Center of Scleroderma. Scleroderma is a skin disease, and it's got an immunological component. Chris Denton is leading our National Scleroderma Referral Center, and he is also leading together with David Abrams on a research program studying the mechanisms underpinning and underlying scleroderma and developing new types of therapies. So this is now our sort of plans for the next few years. We would like to expand the Institute of Immunity and Transplantation, and we are planning to build a new purpose-built research facility. And here I would like to orientate you. So down here would be Belsize Park. You come up here, Haverstock Hill Road. You go down here, Rowland Hill, to the medical school entrance. And here is the front Pond Street entrance of the hospital. So at the moment there is a car park here. So this car park will be re-provided within the new institute. But but the institute will be situated exactly where the existing car park is. It will be a 5-story building. It will contain Royal Free Charity offices. It will contain a car park. And then it will contain 3 floors of the Institute of Immunity and Transplantation. And on the top 2 floors are going to be accommodation for a patient hotel. This is sort of an impression of the architects. So that's where we are at the moment. It may not be the final version, but this is probably what the institute will look like. Again, to orientate yourself, here you come up from a Pond Street entrance. You would walk up this footpath towards Haverstock Hill. And here you can see the institute. Here would be the 3 floors of research accommodation. And here at the top, you can see the patient hotel accommodation. So for us, this is very exciting. We are at the moment finalizing the plans with the architects. We are consulting with the public to discuss pros and cons of this development with our local public. And we are also in discussion with the Camden planners to move forward with planning permission for the institute development. So I would like to then stop here and just summarize for you the plan for the day. So we are going to have a talk on immune mechanisms of type 1 diabetes by Lucy Walker. Then we'll have a presentation on next generation transplantation, where the transplants probably no longer require donation from live donors, but where organs can actually be produced by tissue engineering. And this is Alex Afalian. And then we'll have 1.5 hours of interaction at the stands, where you can look around, you can look at the displays. There are some interactive things. You can look down microscopes, and you can explore in more detail the various clinical and research activities that are going on in the institute. And then after the 1.5 hour, we'll have another 4 short presentations. One presentation on HIV by Sabine Kinloch, a presentation on hepatitis B virus by Marla Maney. So this is a wrong title here. And then we've got a presentation on inherited immunodeficiencies by Siobhan Burns. And then finally, Emma Morris will talk about sort of immunotherapy of cancer approaches. So I'll hand over now to Lucy to give us a presentation on the type 1 diabetes.